is up, math superstars? In this edition of Mr. Peterson Presents, we're going to be talking about volume and surface area. So over the next few YouTube videos here for Math 6-7 Accelerated, we're specifically focusing on volume and surface area. And so when we do that, we're talking about boxes and cans. And so, but in this part, we're going to be just talking about volume. So when we talk about volume, this is the measure of units occupied by a solid region. So it's how many things we can put inside of either the box or the can. So when we talk about volume, this is measured. The measurement will be cubed, and so the reason why is that, say in our box down here below, rectangular prism is what the specific terminology will be for it. So in this rectangular prism, to find volume, we're multiplying the length times the width times the height together. When we do that, we're multiplying centimeters times centimeters times centimeters to give us a cubed unit of centimeters to the third power. And so in doing volume, we gotta make sure that our label has the cubic units on it. So to find volume, this is going to be the equation. It's going to be given to you on a formula sheet also, so you don't have to memorize it, but it's actually really handy to memorize because of the fact you won't have to reference a separate sheet of paper. So volume, very simple. We're doing length times width times height. And so here's what this looks like here. What we're going to do, our very first step here, we need to find the volume of this rectangular prism. So let's go and figure out what our length, width, and height are. So our length is going to be 7.5 inches. Our width is going to be 2 inches. And our height is going to be 4 inches. So for volume, our volume is length times width times height is the equation. So for volume, it's going to be 7.5 inches times 2 inches times 4 inches. And so when we do this, 7.5 times 2 times 4 gives us our volume is going to be 60 inches cubed. So you can see how I wrote things down and showed my work. That's going to be very beneficial to you because if you make a mistake in doing this, you can backtrack to see where the error was and be able to fix it easily. So here's a second example. Once again, we're going to label length, width, and height here. So our length is going to be 4, or width is going to be 5.1. Make sure I add my label on those centimeters. We're dealing in centimeters here. We're going to write our equation down. Volume equals length times width times height. Let's go ahead and fill in our parts here. So length is 4, the width is 5.1. And our height is 9. So this is all centimeters. So when we figure this out, this is going to be in cubic centimeters. Here is our label. So we're going to do 4 times 5.1 times 9 to give us 183.6 centimeters cubed. So now when we're talking about, we're going to switch from the rectangular prisms now to cylinders. So in cylinders, we have this formula here, and let's break this down. So right now the bottom of a cylinder is just a circle, and so you can see this part right here, this is actually the area of a circle. That's just the part for the area of a circle. And all we're doing now is we're going to multiply that by the height. So once again, a little recap, we have the area of a circle. We're going to multiply that by the height. It is going to give us the volume of a cylinder. Let's go ahead and try this out. So we need to label some parts here. So we need to figure out what the radius is and what the height is. So the radius, a friendly little recap from 5th grade, that's the point that starts in the center and goes to the edge of the circle. And so the radius here is going to be labeled at 5 feet. And the height of our cylinder is labeled right there at 15 feet. So now let's go ahead and we're going to write out our equation here. So our volume is pi, which is going to be 3.14 times radius squared times height. So let's go ahead and fill in some parts here. So we have volume equals 3.14. Our radius is 5, so we're going to do 5 squared times 15. And so it's really important to write down your steps, because this third step right here, common error, some people are doing 5 squared as 10, but 5 squared is actually 25. And we're going to rewrite the entire equation here. So then let's go ahead and multiply the parts out. 3.14 times 25 times 15 gives us our volume comes out to 1,177.5 cubic feet. So here's number 2. So we got to figure out what our radius is and what our height is. So the height's easy, is the easy part. Our height for this can of delicious pineapple juice is 9 centimeters. So as you can remember from example number 1, the radius is the point in the middle going to the edge of the circle. But we're given 6 centimeters is our diameter. So that makes 3 centimeters the radius. Now that we have that key information in place, let's go ahead and write out our equation for volume. So pi times radius squared times height. So let's go ahead and do this now. So volume equals 3.14, and we're going to do our radius squared. So 3 to the second power times 9. And order operations tells us we're going to do the exponent first. Common mistake. Some people are doing 3 times 2 is 6. That is wrong. You want to do 3 times 3 to give us 9. And then we're going to rewrite our entire equation here. Now let's go ahead and multiply the parts out. So our volume is 254.34 centimeters cubed. And so it's really important to make sure to identify the parts first, write the equation second, make sure you replace the proper values for the equation, and then go ahead and solve it.